directive principles. Now, as the name suggests, directive word comes from direction. Okay. Easy to understand, easy to retain, so that you are not confused, and the basic meaning of the term should never fade away, right? So when we say directive principle, directive comes from direction. It means the directions that are given to the state, right? Fundamental rights are for the citizens and directive principles are for the state. Constitution किसको direction दे रहा है? State को direction दे रहा है. किस लिए दे रहा है? So that the state performs these directives in order to improve the living standards, the living style, living status of its citizens. Now, that living status is a very broad domain that includes principles based in various fields. For example, socio-economic development, liberal approach. What are the Gandhian directive principles, right? So, these are, I believe we have done this. Have we discussed it? Yes. So we shall quickly move from it. So socio-economic principles are the socio and economic justice. The policy should be in such a manner that the state comes up with the policies that tries to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. It tries to prevent the concentration of wealth in the hands of few, right? So liberal, we have done uniform civil code. I remember, I believe I've discussed it in the last class. The Gandhian and the international principles. Yes, Saurabh, you are right. We have discussed it. Okay. So next is the Indian government. Let us discuss this. So the Indian government is divided into three parts: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Okay, it's fine even if we have not. It shall not take. I'll discuss it. Liberal principles. Now, liberal is. I'm discussing it. Don't worry. So the liberal principles, for example, जो liberalism, liberal values की बात कर रहे होंगे. For example, Uniform Civil Code, Article 44. So the state shall endeavor to formulate and bring uniform civil code for all the people who are living throughout the territory of India. Now this is a DPSP. ठीक है? ये कोशिश है state की to bring such a law. All right. So DPS फंडामेंटल राइट्स की जो लिस्ट है, इवन दैट लिस्ट, उसमें फंडामेंटल राइट्स आपको कब मिले हैं? Now see, can you tell me why directive principles are not enforceable like fundamental rights are? Anybody try to just form some logic. What could be the reason that fundamental rights were given? Yes, Tushar, you can go ahead.
Ma'am, the directive principles required a number of resources which were not available at the time of independence, and they were put in the constitution to guide the formation and policy making of the future government. कि जब जब resources होंगे, we will provide them the these directive principles.
Very good. Correct. So directive principles, क्योंकि directions हैं state के लिए. So when the constitution was made, when the fundamental rights were granted and while the framing was being in progress, it was realized that India is a new independent country. And to ensure all the facilities, all the principles to its citizens requires resources. Resources in the terms of not just money, but land resources, the resources as a social capital. Who is the social capital of any nation? The population, the citizens. And they were not developed then. Okay. It requires a very combined, comprehensive, exhaustive support that must come from the citizenry as a whole, and that required a lot of time for people to inculcate those feelings of brotherhood. Partition had just happened, so you need to, unite, you need to feel one with each other. And of course, to run an economy, you ultimately need what? Resources. So we needed to capitalize on our strengths and remove our weaknesses. Therefore, the state was given this time, state को directions बताए गए कि आपको ये सब करना है. However, with the time, whenever the state will realize that yes, I have reached this milestone, now I have achieved this and I can guarantee this DPSP now as a fundamental right. So we moved that from part 4 to part 3 कि अब हम DPSP से इसको फंडामेंटल राइट गारंटी कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज वी आर नाउ केपेबल इनफ, वी आर नाउ स्ट्रॉन्ग इनफ. सो दिस इज द रीजन एंड यू मस्ट नो इट. ऑफ कोर्स नो वन गोना आस्क यू दैट, बट ये लॉजिक्स पता होने चाहिए कि ऐसा क्यों था. मैम डीपीएसपी को क्यों नहीं दिया, एनफोर्सेबल क्यों नहीं किया, कि स्टेट ने अगर ये नहीं किया तो स्टेट को सीधा जेल में डाल दो, राइट? सो थिंग्स रिक्वायर टाइम टू मैच्योर. Yes, the example is right to education, when the education to 14 years of age was later given as a fundamental right. So Article 45, Article 47, 48, 50, 50 says where the Indian Constitution of Article 50 of Indian Constitution says that the state will try to separate the judiciary from the executive, that the three organs must function separately without any interference in each other's domain. However, the Constitution has provided the framework in such a manner that they try to act as a check and balance on each other's action, right? Gandhian principles, what Gandhiji has, what Mahatma Gandhi wanted. See, he always believed in the idea of village republic. So what you have got in 92 as a constitutional status to the panchayats and the municipalities is something that Gandhi has always dreamt of right from the beginning, because he said what? That my real India lives in villages. So he believed in the concept of village republics. Now village republic का मतलब क्या है? किसी को, I'm telling this in Hindi. Let me know if you are not, the message is not clear. अगर लोग बहुत छोटे लेवल पर, which is village, the basic unit of governance, अगर लोग वहां पर अपने आप को गवर्न कर सकते हैं, गांधी said that state appears devil to me. अब यहाँ पर मतलब स्टेट का ये नहीं है that he is against the state and he is asking the citizens to go against whatever state says. No. State appears devil to me means I do not need a policeman to look over me or to watch over me all the time. If I am governed at the basic level, at the village level, automatically the entire hierarchy from the lower to the upper level will be governed. And you will not have to waste your resources or the entire manpower just to ensure that we are being governed. So Gandhian idea of village republic is what? Self-governance. We do not need a system to tell us the rules. अगर हम खुद बहुत responsible citizens होंगे, we will not need anything else. तो आर्टिकल 40 यही बोलता है that the state will strive to organize the panchayats in village, which will endow them with the powers that will enable them to act as a unit of self-government. Am I clear with the concept of village republic and what are Gandhian principles? Yes, no, maybe. Good. For example, the second Article 43 reads what? The development of cottage industry. Now see, Gandhi's concern was that with the modernization, with the industrial revolution coming into picture, the handicraft and the cottage industry must not fade away. So that has also been promised as or given as a direction, as a directive policy. Yes, Ahmed, if you have a doubt, you can ask.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt.
No, no, absolutely fine. Go ahead.
Ma'am, one of the functions of the Indian Constitution was to limit the power of the government. So, ma'am, was this term limit used in reference to fundamental rights?
Yes. फंडामेंटल राइट्स का डेफिनेशन ये होता है, फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर बीइंग provided, they are being enshrined in the constitution, given to the citizens in which act as a limitation to the state, so that the state one day or someday never becomes one like a dictatorship. Because they believe that in a democracy the real potential of the citizens can be realized only when the citizen is free to express himself or herself, and the expression can have many meanings, sometimes through speech, so freedom of speech, sometimes through movement, so some the right to move freely within the territory of India, sometimes even as a right to strike, therefore a constitutional right, a peaceful demonstration against any law. There shall be no discrimination on basis of 5 common grounds that the constitution mentions, therefore the right to equality. Be it a king, be it a poor, the two must be treated equal in the eyes of law, therefore Article 14. You are free, you are not Islamic state or any Hindutva state, you are India, you are Bharat, you are secular. Therefore if you are a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or you do not follow any religion, you keep yourself distant from all the religions, India welcomes you. So what are these? These are all the rights to citizens which are acting as a limitation on the state, that the state cannot tell you that because you do not follow a particular religion, you cannot live in India. Am I clear, Ahmed? Is your question, doubt being addressed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Article 43 is like the cottage industries, the handicraft. 47 is again a Gandhian principle that talks about the ban on the consumption of wine and other intoxicating drugs. Okay. 48 is again to आपको पढ़कर ही समझ आ रहा होगा कि such nature of directive principles, such nature can only be of Gandhian nature, right? For example, 48 talks about slaughtering of cows, calves, and the other milk. Then the international principles, so that is about promoting international peace and security, because we are a part of UN and no nation can survive in isolation. So we as a part of international community, and we do have some roles and responsibilities. तो वो भी हमको क्या करना है, स्टेट को हमेशा उन चीजों का ध्यान रखना है. For example, 51 ABC, so the C reads, the state shall endeavor to promote respect for international agreements and law.